If someone's ever prescribed for you a drum tuning through an interval or a tension setting, or even a collection of frequencies to tune your drum heads to, they may be doing more harm than good. But today we're going to address some of the blind spots so that you don't get bogged down in the drum tuning bullshit. In this episode, we're going to be addressing some of the key elements and considerations you should be making for how to tune your toms regardless of the style or application, with special consideration given to the things that are most often ignored. So we don't necessarily know the context of the drum sounds that you just heard, but the groove could be a clue. Still, there's no musical context here to help us figure out what's going on, so for all intents and purposes, this is a drum solo. Let's listen to the sounds a little bit more in a different context. Okay, different groove, same mix. And yes, these sounds are definitely mixed. This is not the raw audio from the recording. Let's strip away the mix and focus on the individual sounds of the drums without any kind of EQ, compression, gating, or any other post-production magic. In listening to those individual hits of the toms, could you tell what the interval was between the batter and the reso on both the high tom and the low tom? What about the tensions of the heads? How about the pitches or even frequencies that each of the heads is resonating at? The only right answer here is no. You can't tell what any of those things are based on just listening to the individual sounds. But that's not a jab at you, and I promise we will address all of those individual elements later on in this video. After all, how could you be expected to know all of those individual elements just by listening to the sounds themselves? I can tell you right now without a shadow of a doubt that no matter how good you are at drum tuning, no matter how well refined and skilled and trained your ears are, you would not be able to tell what those individual elements are just by listening to these drum sounds. And the good news is that's perfectly fine. That's okay, and it's not even necessary. But it's also the key reason why focusing on these measurements is exactly the wrong thing to focus on when it comes to getting your drums to sound the way you want and feel the way that you want. If you stick around, I'll explain how not to get lost in the weeds with this stuff, even if there's a drumfluencer out there trying to tell you to save these presets as if there's some sort of starting point that you should be working off of to get your drums sounding the way you want. A lot of people start out tuning based on a rule or a finite recommendation. A specific interval between the batter and reso heads, maybe a pitch setting based off of a tune bot, or even a tension reading from a drum dial. The problem is that once this rule or these measurements become the starting point, it's incredibly easy to fall into confirmation bias. You begin with a method that you expect to work, and then interpret the results in a way that confirms that expectation. If the drum sounds good, the rule gets the credit. If it doesn't, then the assumption is that you're not great at tuning and that the rule was applied incorrectly, rather than that the rule might actually in itself be inappropriate based on the drum heads you're using, the drums, the environment, or any number of other variables that affect the difference in sound relative to your preferences. In reality, tuning is far more reliable when you start out with the desired outcome rather than the method to get somewhere. And it's really important to remember that just because you really like someone else's drum sounds doesn't mean that using their exact settings is going to get you that same sound. You've probably heard of or even seen various health or fitness influencers peddling specific methods. They don't know exactly where you're coming from or where you want to end up. That's why we tend to stay away from prescribing specifics on this channel. I know that this can be frustrating, but this is really where the old saying, fish for a man, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime, can come into play. We could give you settings and call them presets and maybe feed you for a day. But we'd much rather teach you how this stuff works and help you make more informed decisions, effectively feeding you for a lifetime. And this starts with understanding how to choose the best heads for your needs. Consider the characteristics that are important. For this example today, we're going to focus on the batter head first, and we're going to start off a little abstract here, talking about feel. If you want increased rebound, that's a direct result of having the batter head under more tension. If you also want a lower general pitch range, even under this higher tension, you're going to want to use a thicker batter head. That's because more mass or a thicker batter head is going to resonate at a lower fundamental frequency given the same tension. So if you want to be able to produce more rebound without sacrificing the lower pitch range, you're going to want to use a thicker batter head. In a moment, we'll discuss reso head choice. Continuing with this example for tom tuning, let's say that you decide to go with a slightly thicker batter head, like a 12 mil rather than a 10 mil. When it comes to reso head choice, if you want a little bit less sustain, consider using a thicker than standard reso head, maybe even as thick as the batter, like a 12 mil. It's a common misconception that using the same heads at the same tension is going to produce more sustain, or even the most sustain. What it often produces is actually a mode that reinforces the tonal center of the tuning. If instead you're looking for a little bit more sustain and maybe a little bit of phase cancellation in the higher frequency overtones, while also creating a little bit more overall bloom, a thinner reso at the same tension as the batter will actually help make this happen while increasing projection. A lot of people tend to think that drum tuning starts with the drum key, but as you've seen throughout the course of this video, it actually begins with the drum head choice, understanding what each of these decisions is doing to the final output. What happens when we go with a thicker reso or a thinner reso? How does that affect the pitch at a given tension? All of these little elements and understanding how they work together are going to allow us to make much more informed decisions and know what we're getting ourselves into. Stick around, because in just a bit, we're going to get into exactly where these drums are tuned right now. So, bit of a reveal here. If you're wondering about the tension settings between the batter heads and the reso heads on these drums, I can tell you that they are all the same. Literally, they're all the same. The batter head on this drum and the reso head, same tension. Batter head, reso head on this drum, also the same tension. They are all at a 75 on a drum dial. So what's the interval between the batter heads and the reso heads? Well, surely they've got to be a unison, right? Because they're tuned to the same tension. But they're not. In fact, the reso heads are tuned higher, even though they're at the same tension. Why would that be? The answer is that we're using thinner resos than we are batters. The batter heads are G12s, 12 mil heads, and the resos are G1s, 10 mil heads. And as far as the resulting intervals that we ended up with for these drums, the 12-inch tom is set with a perfect fourth. That is to say, the reso is a perfect fourth higher than the batter. And then with the 16-inch tom, the reso is a minor third higher than the batter. The batter head on the high tom was resonating at a fundamental frequency of 315 hertz. And that's about 21 cents sharp of an E flat 4 as far as pitch goes. The reso head was coming in at about 419 hertz. And that's about 15 cents sharp of an A flat 4. For the 16-inch tom, the batter head was resonating at about 236 hertz. And that's about 22 cents sharp of a B flat 3. And the reso head of this drum was resonating at about 290 hertz. And that's about 22 cents flat of a D4. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the reality that this stuff can get confusing, and it's really easy to get lost in the details here. These days, it's almost impossible not to be going through Instagram or TikTok or even here on YouTube and see some sort of a recommendation of check out these drum sounds. Now save these drum presets, save these tension settings, save these individual frequencies, memorize these intervals. These are the rules of thumb when it comes to a 12-inch tom or a 16-inch floor tom made out of this combination of wood. And it's all just a bunch of crap. There's a lot of people that are trying to get your attention, and they are giving you little bits of information, but those bits of information can often be the most confusing element here. It's like they're trying to give you a cheat code to solve a puzzle, but they don't know the puzzle that you're solving, and they don't even have all the pieces themselves. This is one of the key reasons why we like to recommend starting off with logic and then confirming with sound and feel. If you take the time to assess the drum heads that you've got or make the decisions relative to new drum heads that you're buying, you'll be able to be better informed when it comes to the tuning process and understanding what you're going to get based on those initial decisions. Believe me when I say that this stuff is not going to come to you overnight. You have to put in the effort, but the results will absolutely reflect the effort that you put in. The more that you understand how this stuff works from a physics standpoint, the less the whole tuning experience will present as some sort of strange mystery requiring presets. For what it's worth, I got these drums tuned up today without any sort of independent pitch reference or tuner or even tension measurement. That's because this isn't the first time that I've used these heads on these drums. And I generally know the range of these drums and what I'm gonna end up with for overall tensions based on the heads that are being used and the specific intervals that I'm employing. At the end of the day, this is stuff that only comes from experience. You either put in the work or you don't.